even though I titled it Transportation Law, Your Rights and Duties. So the first part we're going to deal with basically, I'm going to introduce you to certain rights, laws that governs the transportation system in the United States. And those laws are divided, there are so many of them, but I want to divide them into three parts, like I said, the criminal justice part and criminal law.
Tanisha,
Picture his name so I can write it.
Okay. I would also, don't really stress yourself too much because I'm going to give you copies of it, which I don't normally do, so, but I'll give you copies of this. Okay. Yeah. So, but if you want to continue writing, you write, but I'll give you copies of it. So we have the criminal justice side of the transportation system, and we also have the civil rights. You know, civil rights when you and I were granted the abilities to become humans in America. You understand what I'm saying? That era where blacks and minorities became part of the system. Then, now, there's a new part of transportation system, which is new. What I call the digital era. And how many of you have heard about autonomous cars? Autonomous.
Automotive?
Self-driving cars.
Automotive?
Yeah. Self-driving cars, driverless cars. You know, they are powered by technology. So there are a different set of laws, you know, that govern those systems. So now, you know by now that transportation involves road, sea, air, rail, and inland waterways. And then again, transportation includes the space, aviation. Now, we've taken it further in America. We are now trying to conquer the space. You know, what the space is, going to the moon, the Mars. So those are, now, the transportation system is mostly governed by what we call strict liability laws. Who can tell you what strict liability laws are? So this is what we mean by strict liability laws. There are laws that are made that you don't have any wiggle room. That it's like it's cast in stone. For instance, when you are drunk, you shouldn't drive. Once you are drunk and maybe you have an accident, it's kind of a strict liability because you will not have any wiggle room that, oh, the other driver ran into my lane. Why? It's because the law has told you, do not drive, or do not be underage. You can't drive if you are not up to, what age in Georgia?
18.
You know?
No, it ain't. You're 15. You can't drive.
Without an adult in the
Without an
car.
adult is 16, but you can drive with an adult at 15.
Oh, I thought you was asking what age you can drink.
Yeah, what you can drive, I mean. What age you can drive. Okay, I think you guys have an idea of what it, yes, you are correct, very correct. In Georgia, actually, listen, in Georgia, you can only drive, the law says from 16. And that is with a family member, meaning your parents. Okay? So when you are 16, you'll be given that teen license. But you can't drive by yourself. You can only drive as an adult in Georgia when you are 18. And who knows the name of the law that governs driving in Georgia? It has a name.
Name for what?
The law, the driving law in Georgia. There's a special name given to the law that governs teens driving in Georgia. It was popular from 2005, something happened, and they called that law.
Age limit? Oh, so Joshua's law?
So, in Georgia, teen driving, is governed by this law. So this law came about. Joshua Brown was killed in 2003 and the dad decided to, organize so that, because the statistics shows that teens die a lot through driving in Georgia. The rate of, some statistics say that teens die more from driving than any other stuff, any other mode of
Age group.
in America. So Joshua Brown's father, was in the forefront of making special laws to take care of teens and children. So that's how we have in Georgia the law they call. So this law basically tells you what I just said now, that you cannot drive as a teen when you are 16, except there's a family member with you. Now, when you are 18, just like every other thing, you can vote, you can drive you have a different license. How many of you drive here? None. Okay. So none of you is 16 here. You drive?
She don't drive.
I'm taking my test.
Okay.
You
Okay.
already got something.
So now, these are the basic things you should understand. The laws gives you responsibility. Like I just said now, there's an age limit. There's also new laws now that governs what we call autonomous driverless vehicles. Now, this is the most important aspect of driving for teens. And if you read the statistics, a lot of teens now, because of the new age, we can't control teens anymore. Peer group pressure, distractions when other teens are in the car. The law is very strict on this. You do not, you do not drink and drive. It's a strict liability law. Don't even attempt it. Whether you're a teen, whether you're an adult, a teen is even worse, because if you are caught, you might never drive. You can imagine you're just starting life and suddenly you are caught under this. You might not drive forever, because once there's that record on you, who's going to give you a license to drive even when you become 21, when you start drinking legally? So these are the things you should note, Now, concerning the digital era, driverless cars, there is still debate on whether we should really allow these cars on our roads. Mostly in California, the western part of America, the West Coast, they are really experimenting on these drivers, cars without drivers. But you see, the same rule that governs cars with drivers also governs driverless cars. So we've already talked about this, that in Georgia you have 16 years plus, proper IDs. How many of you have an ID? How many of you have, apart from do you have a state ID or school ID? Yeah, that's ID, but I'm talking of state ID now. I'm talking of state ID now. So so let's quickly go to. I really want us to go to. Okay, I didn't want to see that. Okay, I see it now. I want us to backtrack to an important area. Yeah. So, now this is actually very important. That's why I said I want to combine civil rights and now. So, how does civil rights connect with driving? There's been a lot of incidents lately in America, the killings of blacks and minorities. And I thought that maybe we should expand a little bit at your age, talk to kids, teens, about how to prevent most of these situations. Now, in America, the police, the law enforcement have rights. So you and I have the rights. The law enforcement has the right to stop you, to stop your vehicle while you are driving. Even when the vehicle is not being driven, the law enforcement has the right to stop you. But listen, they shouldn't stop you just like that, just because it's color of your skin or because the car you drive. That is where the constitutional rights, civil rights comes in. So the major civil rights we have in America is what we call equal protection of the law. So we find these laws under the 14th and the 5th Amendment of the United States. So I took time to set out these important civil rights laws for you. So why should a cop stop you on the highway or on the street while you are driving? Who can tell me why?
Speeding.
Mm-hmm.
Suspended license.
Mm-hmm.
No license plate.
So, in summary, when the cop suspects that you've broken a law or there's something wrong with you, he has the right to stop. So, there's a technical term for that. Hello? Can you sit up a little bit? Are you okay?
Justin,
Yeah. So, I'm going to tell you things that your mates have not learned yet. So, if you learn it now, it might be good for you when you know, depending on the courses you're going to. So, there's a technical name for why the cops or law enforcement stops you. Have you heard of those kind of? Can you suggest? Can you tell me what must the law enforcement or the cop have? What state of mind? What's it called? The state of see because before, like you said, speeding. Okay. That state of mind is stopped you because he suspects that you're speeding, or his instrument, the radar, tells him that your car is above the speed limit. So, what is it called technically? What's that thing called? What that state of mind? Okay, suspect that. So,
Caution.
no, it's called the most probable cause. Okay, so in America, the cop should not stop you except there is a probable cause. You know, it's a very strong word and a legal word, probable cause. That is the most, in simple English, this is a legal word that lawyers use a lot. In simple English, it means it must have a strong reason to stop you. And one of the reasons, which is legit, is like you're speeding. It comes close to your car, it smells alcohol, or it smells alcohol from you. It's allowed. So, now, what does that tell you when you are driving, or when you are with a car with a friend who is also driving? You have to have that knowledge and tell him, hey, slow down. You might be pulled over. What's smelling in this car? This smells like alcohol or marijuana. No, I'm not going to enter that car. See, those are the ways you forestall encounters with cops. Because if you are aware that the cop has the right to stop you, now, you will prevent your friend either speeding, or you yourself will advise yourself, say, hey, dad or mom told me not to roll with bad company. Sorry, I can't come with you today. No, I'll come with you tomorrow. Because you know, if you are in that car and the cops stop that car and they smell alcohol or something goes on, all of you are going to be taken to the precinct. So, but you see, 14th Amendment. What does it say? All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge privilege or immunities of citizens of the United States. Nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, without due process of the law, or nor deny person in equal protection of you. So you see, the cops cannot stop you without a probable cause. That is, without due process. Also, they cannot